Get out of it! I've got to get a better sound library. Hello YouTube, you cheeky lot. Well, it looks like I'm going to be here for a while, and if I know anything about werewolves, I've got about 30 seconds before I become one of them. Okay, I'm willing to move forward with this, like that lawyer with the cat filter.
Can you hear me, Judge?
I can hear you. I think it's a filter.
I'm prepared to go forward with it.
Anyway, it's been an whole year since I first posted my Halloween video, which also makes this the first anniversary of when I first started making YouTube content as well. So to celebrate, let's wait for this full moon to pass and take a look back at some of the most mental B-movies I've ever seen. So, in no particular order, first up, it's Mom. Mom. Nobody I've ever met has ever seen this film. I've had it on video for about 20 years, but there's also a free version of it on YouTube if you want to check it out. I would say it's one of those films that has a cult following, but I mean it has a really cult following. 5,000 views on YouTube, and it's been on there for like 12 years. Although, who am I to talk, really? The film's about an old lady that gets turned into a werewolf. Well, it's not a werewolf, it's like, I don't know, when they try and explain it, it's like everybody forgot the script that day.
Vampire, werewolf, ghoul, it's all the same.
The film starts off with the worst dad in the world dropping off his young daughter at a dark bus stop in the middle of nowhere. The only person there is a shady, clearly murderer who's gonna get her, and that he does. She breaks every rule in the book of not getting killed. And for some reason, instead of ignoring a stranger at the bus stop like you usually would, she thinks she's at a youth hostel.
You waiting for the bus to Los Angeles? That's where I'm headed. How about a little Christmas spirit, huh? Look, I'm just offering you a drink, that's all.
So naturally, she gets her face bitten off. And what would you think that the monster does next? Go back to his lair? Maybe stalk and plan out his next victim? Nope, he goes flat hunting. And it just so happens that a sweet little old lady has a room to rent out of her house. It's actually her son's room, and he's pretty passive-aggressive when he learns about it as well.
Well, we had to do something so you wouldn't rent my room out.
You're like 40. Do you want your mom to be penniless and alone? So the monster shows up under the guise of a man called Lester, and he just puts on a pair of glasses and pretends he's blind, which is great for Mum. She immediately realises she can take a shit with the door open. Anyway, it's his friendly and charismatic voice that really sells it.
I'm looking for a little place quiet out of the way that I can call home.
Oh yeah, that's right. His voice is rape and murder incarnate. How can every single fibre in your being not realise that he's a ghoul? Anyway, he takes a shine to the old lady, but he eventually loses control and makes her one of him. And they set out to prowl the streets and start eating a bunch of homeless people. But then the son finds out and gives her a good old finger wagging and becomes the parent himself. Honestly, if you didn't see the start of this film, you'd think you were watching a commercial about elderly abuse.
Go to your room. No!
Then unfortunately, the best character in the whole film gets killed off. And you'll never guess what happens next, right? You'll never guess what happens next. I don't know. I turned it off. I stopped watching it. I got better things to do, because this is a really long fucking episode. But if you want to watch the rest of Mum, it's on YouTube. Hang on. I've just realised I'm a werewolf. Which is weird, because I've always been more of a Team Edward. Let's see if I've got any werewolf powers. Anyway, the next film we have here is the one we all know and love. Dawn of the Dead, 1977. Now there's a lot of filmmakers out there that'll tell you this film is a masterpiece, an untouchable cultural phenomenon, a true achievement and treasure of its time. So naturally, I have a few thoughts on that. Yes, it's a social commentary where the American dream and consumerism, blah blah blah, and it's got iconic lines and great acting. But it's just... the zombies are so shit. The blood looks like nursery safe poster paint, and in some sequences, it's like they outsourced the editing to a 5-year-old, which is funny, because George Romero himself edited this. Did he have a stroke halfway through or something? Some scenes are perfectly crafted, like the opening sequence in the TV studio. It's well directed and cut together perfectly. You really buy into the fact that this could be a genuine, busy, musty, sweaty TV station. Then in other scenes, you get, well, this. I mean, I know it's half a century old, but did no one at the time think, hang on, maybe if we get people to just jump backwards when the van comes along, it'll actually look like people just jumping backwards when the van comes along. It's weird to say this about a zombie film, but any time the zombies are not on screen, this is a good film. Just skip to the bit when they're in the mall and making a little house for themselves and going on a shopping spree. This is the good stuff. It always amazes me in zombie films, they decide to set up camp outside in the open, surrounded by danger. Like in 28 Days Later, when they sleep in some castle ruins in the middle of nowhere. Let the girl sleep in the secure, spacious metal taxi you came in here, you idiot. What are you doing? Bad dad. So it's refreshing in this one to see two blokes literally build a wall to block off an entire staircase and create a new in and out system with a ladder in an air vent. I fucking love this stuff. Until the zombies come. God, the zombies. One thing that also annoys me about this film is that everyone uses slow bolt-action rifles. Like, you're in America, and there's a gun shop in the mall. Where are all the Uzis, shotguns, and automatic killing machines? You think they'd have a load of them in stock, there being a school down the road? Fun fact as well, 2 of the zombie actors were caught sucking each other off in the mall's photo booths. Alright, I made that up, but they did take pictures of themselves and replaced the stock photos in the booth with zombie ones. Those cheeky little zombies. Not the best trivia, but IMDb.com had like 5 pieces of trivia, which are all pretty boring. Maybe this film has some kind of high-level protection around it for being an untouchable classic. You can't say anything bad about it, otherwise the Romero nuts will come and get you.
It's a contemporary art piece on consumerism, so the zombies are supposed to look that way.
I run an independent cinema, and I think you'll find that every Halloween, this film brings down the house. You uncultured swine.
Actually, it came out in 1978, not in 1977. And if you understood how the history of the film came about, then you would understand that George Romero had to make the film this way and not in the way that you want it done. You're just so zombified, how ironic, by the modern zombies. I bet you like them when they run.
Shut up! They didn't have enough money to make it look good, okay? And Tom Savini, who did the special effects, even admitted he used the wrong makeup. But I let him off the hook because he also plays Sex Machine and From Dusk Till Dawn. They were also transitioning from black and white into colour at the time after Night of the Living Dead, which is where they used chocolate syrup as blood. All the zombies that featured in the film were given $1 and a shitty t-shirt for starring in the film as well. Well, at least the zombies got paid an artist's wage for this contemporary art piece. Also, the best thing about Dawn of the Dead is Keenan's dad from Keenan and Kel.
When there's no more room in hell, the dead will walk the earth.
Quite the career move, Ken. Okay, not long till the song comes up now. We have time for a couple more of these. I wonder if I can jump up that tree. Oh, hello. Number 3, Deep Blue Sea. That's right, not quite the horror flick you were expecting, I bet. But Deep Blue Sea is one of the best shark films ever made outside Jaws, I reckon. If you know of any shark films better, seriously drop me a comment below. And just listen to how good that score is. Cast as well. We have Samuel Jackson, The Punisher, LL Cool J, generic scientist from Marvel that also plays a generic scientist in this, the policeman from Friends, and I always grew up thinking Miss Honey from Matilda was in this as well, but it's actually Saffron Burrows. Quite the disappointment when rewatching this for review and you find out your childhood's a lie. Miss Honey does star in The Army of Darkness though as an horny zombie.
I may be bad, but I feel good.
Also, congratulations to Thomas Jane for featuring in both the worst and best shots in cinematic history. I warn you, if you're into directing or cinematography of any kind, this scene might be highly distressing for you. I don't know why, but this shot just makes me so angry, and it always has. Who's he looking at? What are you doing? But now, get ready for the best shot in cinematic history, in yet, Deep Blue Sea. In this film, a scientist's base gets flooded after doing experiments with sharks, and the sharks go mental and start attacking them after developing an acute sense of intelligence. Any room they enter could be filled with water and sharks, making any door they open a possible instant threat. So now knowing that, I now present to you the best shot I've ever seen in cinematic history. I mean, just so good. You think it's flooded, but it's not. It's just a fish tank. Kisses to cinematographer Stephen F. Winden, who also shot The Wonderful World of Dog and Sonic 2. Okay, that sunrise is coming. I can feel my fangs receding. Best get down from here whilst I still can. Let's finish off with a B-movie game to shake things up. Number 4, Resident Evil 4 VR. Now, I pre-recorded this bit ahead of being scratched up by a werewolf, but Resident Evil 4 in virtual reality is the apex of the B-movie experience. You get to use a bunch of weapons strapped to your body, whilst murdering a bunch of Eastern European Spanish villagers, who for some reason speak in a Mexican dialect. Anyway, they're psychos and they want to kill you. They're infected by these ancient underground parasites called Las Plagas, which also sounds like a Club 18 to 30s holiday strip in Mallorca. Your mission is to rescue the president's daughter and get her home safe. Generic as fuck, but it works. And they do a good job of making you feel like an hero as well. Apart from when you kick one in the face and it zooms out, revealing the handsome and unattainable body goals of Leon S. Kennedy, the most handsome secret agent in all of gaming. Hang on, haven't I seen him somewhere before? Yeah, sorry to ruin your childhood, but ever wonder why Leon has suddenly learned all these backflips and slow motion moves since the last game? Not only did they rip off Tom Cruise's look from the film here, but all those awful slow motion sequences in the game are due to this fucking film. Just don't try and do a real flip in VR. Yes. But coming back to the VR here, you'll notice things you never noticed before, like taking time to stop and open some drawers and admire the textures of the game. The most annoying thing about the original game is that when you drew your gun, you had to stand on one spot and aim. Now you can float about and kill villagers nice and quick, like a waitress on a pair of skates in the 50s. Yeah, they remade it last year with fancy graphics, but nothing beats being in the action, quite like virtual reality in a weird, textured world. And the original was just an all-out cheese fest as well, which makes it the perfect B-movie experience.
Small world, eh? Well, I see that the president's equipped his daughter with ballistics, too.
How rude!
Oh, gross. She's like 17. It reminds me of someone, actually. Anyway, you end up blowing everything up when you win the day. Finally. So that about does it. I hope you've enjoyed this little Halloween special. To think it's been an whole year with some time off in between. These videos take fucking ages to make, so if you could subscribe to the channel, comment and like it, YouTube will love it, and so will I. Whilst you're doing that, I wonder who the original werewolf was who was chasing me and scratched me earlier.